All right, so for this question, you need to read it over. Note that Mary is buying tickets for a movie and she is spending money on adult tickets that cost $9 and children tickets that cost $5 a piece. She spends a total of $110 on the tickets and she buys 14 total. First thing we need to do is set up our variables or define our variables. So the way that the way I represented my variables is I said that X is the total adult tickets and Y represents the total children tickets. Go ahead, pause the video, and define your variables. After we've done that, we can set up our system of equations. So just keep in mind that when we have money in one of these questions, we can use that money to relate the cost of the adult and children tickets. So we know that each adult ticket costs $9. So we could represent this as $9 times the number of adult tickets that she buys. We know that the children tickets cost $5 a pop. So that would be plus $5 times the number of children's tickets that she buys. And then the total amount that she spends is $110. So the total amount she spends when adult tickets cost $9 and children's tickets cost $5 is $110. So that's our first equation. Now we need one more so that eventually we can solve for X and Y. So I'm going to use this last piece of information that is on the bottom right here. And what that tells us is that Mary buys a total of 14 tickets. So we can write this as the total adult tickets plus the total children's tickets equals 14. Once we have that, we are able to solve for X, which is the total adult tickets, and Y, which is the total children's tickets, and that will give us our answer. So the first thing that we need to do when we are working with a question that involves substitution is we need to get one variable all by itself. So the variable that I am going to choose to solve for is X. So to get X by itself in this system, we are going to subtract Y from each side. And we're left with X, Y minus Y is 0. X equals 14 minus Y. Now we can use this to solve for our equation, the top one, so we can solve for Y. So we know X equals 14 minus Y, so I'm going to put that in brackets and substitute 14 minus Y in for the X right there. So I'll draw my little arrow just to show what I am substituting in where. And I'm going to rewrite this equation on the side. So 9 times 14 minus Y plus 5Y equals 110. Once again, I substituted in 14 minus Y for the X right there. Okay, so to solve this, we have to use the distributive property. Remember, that means that we multiply the number touching parentheses times everything inside. 9 times 14 is 126. Then we've got minus 9Y plus 5Y equals 110. Okay, now we need to combine our variables. So we have 126. Negative 9 plus 5 is a negative 4. Next, we'll subtract 126 from each side. 126 minus itself is 0, cross it out, and we're left with negative 4y equals 110 minus 126, which is negative 16. Okay, our last step is to divide each side by the number that's being multiplied by y. -4 divided by itself is 1, and -16 divided by -4 is +4. Now remember that y represents the total children tickets. So we get y equals 4, which means that the children tickets, or the child's tickets, or the total amount of the children's tickets, there we go, is 4. Now remember that in our previous discussion, we talked about how Mary buys a total of 14 tickets. So if she bought 4 children's tickets and she bought a total of 14, then that would mean that the rest would be adult tickets. So 4 plus 10 is 14, and we have our solution because she bought 14 tickets.